Hi, we're live. So you tell me about that, Mike. It's Monday, the 10th of November, 2025. Time is seriously flying now. Couple of days and I will be flying myself. So you will all have to wait for my live shows and missing episodes updates when I return at the latter end of next week. I'm sure you'll cope. Thank you for your fantastic support so far, though. So the news today on the talking sense, making sense of all the Doctor Who nonsense is about Paramount sniffing around the Doctor Who show. Now, as you... Let me just check. Is everyone saying Mike's okay? Go okay. As you... As you know, I hope you can expect my well-connected media insider, my sources, given his reaction to this news so you can feel fully briefed and aware of all the latest. This is all in the light of Disney dumping Doctor Who as fast as it could, embarrassed, chastened and certainly the wiser after realising what that deal looked like under Bad Wolf and RTD. I mean, we've got the Who-Pets, coming up with a new series, The Tales of the Rtd'S, and it's this, thanks to Garbage Who, it's this materialising toilet on Tutter's Lane. But my God, they must have thought, what the hell have we got? And of course, Calvin Klein Y-fronts for, Shooty, it wasn't what they were expecting at all, was it? Right. We discussed a few months ago about the bun fight potentially in the future over Doctor Who when we considered all the different possible rivals, the various vultures checking what meat is left on the Doctor Who carcass to make profit from. And that's how it feels, doesn't it? It really does feel as though the TV show at the moment has died. It feels as though it's become soulless. It feels as though it's lost its direction. It feels as though it doesn't know what its DNA is. It feels as though it's lost that spirit. It feels as though it's just got no momentum. And that's a horrible feeling when you imagine all these other big companies are just thinking, right, what can we screw out of it? What can we get out of it? Because that's always the game. And then, of course, like when we discussed Paramount tonight, and my source discussed Paramount, an American company, will they change the DNA even more? And since the BBC doesn't seem to understand what Doctor Who really should be, if you then get a streamer who can call the shots a lot more than Disney did, it's quite concerning, isn't it? Because if RTD, the great supervan, has left it directionless, rudderless, and without a real kind of USP anymore, then the last thing we need is an American streamer to come in and do their version of it. That's my personal opinion. Although John Yulden, who's obviously driving home, said he'd rather give the gig to Paramount than the BBC, the way it's gone. Stephen Bellow, though, says Paramount ruined Star Trek. No, thank you very much. So I think we're going to get a bit of an argument tonight on this one, and you can all guide me on this. So yes, got plenty to talk about, and I will get on with it. So this is basically the news in essence. There's not much to read, but there's a lot to discuss. So, the recent rumour from Radio Free Skaro heard that Paramount are in talks with the BBC for a Doctor Who deal, although they say it's in a limbo stage because Paramount want the back catalogue in the UK as well. And William Who here says, isn't Paramount in a bit of a mess at the moment? Well, obviously things have changed. But the back catalogue, according to my sources, should be worth about 400 million. And obviously that's in flux too, because they used to be with HBO Max, Pluto, and various sources are not interested as well. It's actually, nobody's really biting at the bit, are they? Garbage Who himself, I'm just finished off my last Doctor Who video for Doctor Who 12. Doctor Who, I'll Let You Go will be uploaded in the next hour or so. He's done good stuff, hasn't he? Wait till you see what he's done to the Who-Pets. And a Dalek master plan, crazy cliffhanger in the week's time. Oh, yes, plenty of good stuff there as well. So look out, give him a love, give him a like. Is there a love? What am I doing? I'm making stuff up. So anyway, that's the news there that we're going to talk about our. It's like being at the fairground, isn't it? They're wanting to get their clutches on our toy Doctor Who and take it over to America and implant it there. It scares me rigid, it really does. So, could it be? Because we know from the San Diego Comic-Con 2024, Alex Kurtzman, RTD, sat next to each other. We're like brothers in spirit. Band of Brothers, remember that? The multiple cross-references to each other. We started it in Space Babies, Strange New Worlds, latest series. You know, oh, wouldn't it be great to have a mashup where we stick a TARDIS with 3 pixels at the back of a shot? Woo! You know, we've made it in America. I mean, honestly, are we this desperate that we're a barnacle on the USS Enterprise now? We're a barnacle. Oh, we're so proud. How far we've come since 63. My God. I tell you what, there was a nasty irony, wasn't there? We started in 63 in Totter's Lane in a scrapyard, and we end up as scrap in Strange New Worlds. Are they taking the pee? So, yes, this mashup was so exciting for these great showrunners. And yes, if you want to zoom in and just do screenshots and kind of salivate, well, over to you. Over to you. Right, I'm gonna have to get my glasses out. You know, people in the thread are doing their biz, and of course I can do that now. Look at that. Don't need a bed, yeah. So, good to see Rachel. Good to see Farsight. Good to see Lee Smith. Doctor Who and Star Trek should never merge. There's no need, and I will make my argument. In fact, shall I do my argument now? Of course I'll do my argument now. Right, excuse me. I'll get you all back on in a minute. Right, excuse me. Right. RTD always fancied a silly mashup, something that would weaken and diminish both brands rather than enhance them. Leave that to the cartoons. Can you remember in the 70s, the Animal Olympics, Hanna-Barbera? Yes. Or there were star pantomimes when you get stars from lots of different shows. This is all lightweight stuff. This is all kiddie stuff. You're not taking Doctor Who seriously. You're making it meaningless. You're making it of no substance. You're playing at it. You're playing with it like a cat and a mouse. It's cheapening it, and it serves no narrative benefit or payoff. Right, there you go. Right, that's my start of a 10. What's everybody saying now? Yes, Rachel, fancy new layout, you know, it's the glasses. No, Stephen O'Neill, it's a British show and should stay British. That's what makes it unique. Stephen O'Neill, look what RTD's done to it. He's British, and it's the British corporation that's been making it, and look what they've done to it. That's what's frightening me. Look, they're all going to enjoy me doing this now, so I'm going to just tease them. To have a chance of saving the show, they have to back out of everything after Capaldi's regeneration started, says John Dre retired. And you know what that means. I know that my source, and I'm going to get to him in a minute, has said they're never going to do that. The BBC would never do that. It's like suicide for them. But yes, I'm not happy. I am certainly not happy about what's been promised. And so, yes.
That's secrets to unlock. Clever boy.
Thank you. You see, she's praising me. You see, this is what happens, you see. This is what happens. Right, the source. Now, the source recently said this. He did say that Paramount and Star Trek are in a better position than Doctor Who anyway. As is always the way, it is our show that has been hurt by being played with and doctored too much. It might be a flexible, unique format, and it really is, but has begun to ape other shows and IPs, losing its soul in the process, becoming aimless, soulless, and lost. And as my source said, Star Trek had a healthy, profitable movie franchise. They could spawn spin-off shows. Yes, they made too many, but Paramount knows they can rest ashore, retool Star Trek brand, and go again. They know the franchise will always make a profit. Now, can we say that about Doctor Who? No, we can't. Because I think we've damaged it much, much more. Tony Farrell. Brendan, I'll throw this into the mix, though it won't happen straight away. The BBC will be forced to do a subscription model. Well, look what's happening. It makes sense, therefore, that they'll want to keep Who's catalogue. Yes, it might be a short-term arrangement because everybody's learnt from Disney. They're not going to just let you get away with what's been going on. I'm seeing a few new people. Always nice to see you. They just need to let televised Doctor Who die. Big Finish has been better than the televised show for so many years now. I must get into that, I have to say. So that's my starter for 10, everybody. My starter for 10, that it's become soulless, lost, and, it doesn't know what it is anymore at all.
Unfortunately, he can't get in. Isn't that interesting? Very interesting.
It's funny when you do it live. You can't do it the same as the edit, can you? But anyway, you know I've got my source, and oh my god, I've been tickling him in funny places today trying to get information. So I was whispering to my source, and I give him another little tickle and a sugar lump between keeping him in my dark cellar under lock and key, prizing him. I got more out of him. Yes, I did. Now, he'd already said to me previously, between porridge and rations on some gym in a basement shower, that streamers will be wise to the BBC and Doctor Who Disney situation and debacle. As he said, I don't think a streamer worth their salt with any intelligence would let the BBC put Doctor Who on as a first broadcast. As you could see, that was my thumbnail. If they're buying the rights and they're putting the money in. And this is the big play. I don't know what everybody thinks. Disney paused it up. Disney wasn't almost acting like Disney. Disney had no creative control or oversight. Disney was putting half the money in, or more than that, and Disney had no say on the back catalogue. How the hell was that a deal negotiated by anybody with common sense? Everybody's learned from that debacle now, and everybody who was sniffing around Doctor Who are certainly not going to put up with such a dodgy, weak, lame, limp deal. And so, yeah, if you're worth your salt and you're a bit streetwise, you would say to the BBC, you know, we can offer the money. We can put an awful lot in. We can invest in this and we can offer you the global platform. However, we want a lot more oversight. You heard the rumours that they wanted RTD gone. They all want RTD gone for obvious reasons. We don't need to go there. Do we need to toxify our stream again by waffling on about him? No, we don't. Farsight, Gallifrey and the Time Lords were mentioned in the 80s Next Generation novel. Oh, God, don't. You see, you're going to put me off even looking at stuff. You're going to scare me rigid. Starfleet Academy will bury Trek for a while. I know. I'm avoiding some of it, and I've stopped watching Strange New Worlds. Funny that, eh? Farsight, the show needs to go away for a long time till someone comes to their senses in the BBC. The trouble is, Farsight, you know what it's all about. Money, and people don't like anything to go away, so they're just, I don't know, they're like parasites. They actually, like leeches, they just bleed it dry, when actually it does need a little bit of a rest, and we will actually maybe talk about that in a moment. This is Star Wars level of knacked. So we need a new way back into the Doctor Who universe like they did with The Mandalorian. Oh, don't have babies. So yeah, I know it. Right, so we're going to talk about what the source's feedback has been on this latest rumour about Paramount. And, of course, I keep saying source, and I'm tricking you. Obviously, good old Garbage Who, I asked him, come on, let's come up with a new segment that's not called The Source. So we came up with The Cypher. So, this is the section on what the source has said, and I think we can all enjoy the discussion. And please join in so I can have a breath of my cup of tea. You know I have 25 cups of tea during a stream. So here's what the Cypher has said about the rumours from Radio Free Skaro about the Paramount negotiations.
Cypher.
Yeah, the Cypher. So what's he been saying then anyway, my little source? Right, Paramount has just been bought out and they're looking to build IP like Yellowstone. Taylor Sheridan's deal is up and he's leaving them. So this does not surprise me, the source, is the first thing he says. And this is what it is. They're actually, and he has said this to me all the time. I mean, I shouldn't call it the Cypher or the source. I should call it Educating Brendan, because many, many times when I've talked to him in person and I've talked to him on the phone and I've talked to him in all these various guises, you know, he says actually half the time these global streamers just want to fill their platform with content. They're actually less bothered about some of the new series and, you know, developing new content. Yes, you need a few big vehicles that get you in the headlines, but they mostly want that back catalogue of everything to just flood the market and make it look as though their wares are amazing. And of course, I don't normally share, but let's just see if I can do it. I might as well risk something tonight. If we look at actually the stuff that's available on Paramount, you can see there, and if I can scroll it down a little bit, let's have a look. I can do it. There you go. You can see, I have to say, when you look at streaming platforms and you go, am I interested? I mean, there's the agency there. Sounds half interesting. Has anyone finding anything yet they're interested in? I look through that and I'm doing what I normally do on various other platforms. I'm going, nothing yet. Can you imagine Doctor Who on there? It'll just be flooded. And I think this is the thing a lot of people are saying, whether it's Paramount, Netflix, Amazon, whoever, Disney, Doctor Who's just lost amidst the content. And I actually do think we've got to be careful here. Just because the BBC is screwed up, and boy, have they screwed up, and just because the BBC hasn't got a clue what to do with Doctor Who, doesn't mean we throw it into this kind of global mess and, palette of pap. Because I will just keep flicking down. I mean, Dexter, yeah. There's a couple of things, but can Doctor Who thrive in this market? Does Doctor Who stand out? We've tried to echo Buffy. We've tried to echo loads of American content. We've tried to echo Marvel. By trying to echo so much content, we've become a cheap, cruddy, amateur version of this. So how are we going to compete, is my question, in this flooded market? And that is my big concern. Round of applause for Brendan for actually managing to do a shared screen. Whee! Unbelievable. I know. There should be an award for that somewhere. Let's find one.
Remember, overshut the fool up.
Oh, that was rude. So anyway, there you go. Paramount have just been bought out, so they're looking for content. Don't you know, Brendan? And I'm sure you all knew that already. Right. He also said the catalogue will always be an issue unless or until the BBC makes a long-term decision about where their catalogue sits and if it stays there. So he was educating me a bit as well, saying, Brendan, this is going to go on and on and on. And actually, you might have to just shut up talking about it. He did. He said, back off, Brendan. I'm saying, back in your cellar, you. So yes, this is going to be an issue. And the BBC, as a few of you have said in the thread already, it's in flux anyway. It's in limbo. Is it going to get a TV license? Is the government going to change in future and actually really take it on? I'm not saying good or bad, but it's in flux. And as the source said to me, when the BBC's in flux, the BBC commissioning editor for new pitches doesn't say, oh yeah, come on, bring it on, more Doctor Who, please. They don't. So it is very interesting in the latest malaise that we're in, that we've heard about the Christmas special. And as my source said, they will not do a single Christmas special without having an idea for a new series. So yes, RTD hopefully tidies it up, whatever. And then we'll get the discussions about a new series with somebody else. And this is maybe where Paramount and all this lot is coming into it. Right. I'm not trying to ignore the thread. As you know, I've got special buttons now. Right, so yes, just throw everything at me and I'll be out of control. No, but there you go. That's a thread at the moment. Brendan, get RTD told at that Newcastle event next year. Oh, as if I can get in it. Yes, I know. I was told by him to get there. Yes, that's the problem with media right now, says Rtd'S. They don't let anything just end gracefully. Keep it going and going until everybody's utterly exhausted with it. And then it's really bad content. Rachel there, well, after the BBC's big screw up in the last couple of weeks. I know, and they don't apologise either, do they, Rachel? I mean, what makes them think they are impervious to actually having to apologise for stuff? We've got Steve's Ace there. I'll have him doubled up. Look at that. Doctor Who is a show that should bring people to whatever platform it's on, but it's damaged, and I don't think Paramount subscribers will suddenly start to watch the show. That happened with Disney as well. It didn't alter things, did it? Mind you, they didn't get what they wanted. So we've got that mentioned, and of course you can imagine they'll probably want any streamer. They will demand a kind of Marvel setup and spin-offs because that's what they want. They just want content. So, of course, I just feel as though we're in such a weak position where the BBC's looking behind itself, looking at the defunders and looking at all the politicians and all the stuff here, and you know who in America who might come looking for them after what they did recently. And then you think, it is almost like President Barroso and the Five Doctors, that all they'll do, these streamers, in their negotiations and say, right, can we have an old doctor? Can we have a spin-off with so-and-so? Can we do this? Can we? And in the end, too much content, it fills the platform, doesn't interest anyone, doesn't appeal to anyone, but somewhere somebody thinks they're making money out of a back catalogue, somebody thinks they're making money from a Blu-ray release, that sort of thing. We know the score. They're so predictable. Terrified Monk, I wouldn't be surprised if Disney had been telling the other streamers to avoid the BBC like the plague. It's very possible to isn't that funny? I was going to Terrified Monk and I came to Funky. It's interesting. Terrified Monk, I was coming to you as well. Disney screwed up by not having the back catalogue, is what I said. And then you said, Funky, I wouldn't be surprised if Disney had been telling the other streams to avoid the BBC like the plague. There you go. I've dealt with you both at the same time, somehow. John Yulden is driving. Is he chitty chitty bam bam? What is this? This special car you're in, where you're driving, listening, and also typing. I tell you what road is he on? I said on the show months back not to... Oh, you see, he's trying to get back on again. Look at this. Self-promotion, it's shocking. I said on the show months back not to discount Paramount as a partner. He did. I couldn't resist stopping and throwing that into the conversation. You did to me personally earlier. Now you've done it again. He's on repeat cycle. God, are you BBC 2 or BBC 3? Right, so... Thank you for that. Anyway, the streamers clearly are going to learn from Disney, and that's a definite. And you don't have to be a genius to know that. People watch, people observe, and go, I'm not having any of that. And of course, my source has schooled me pretty well on that. I was the future once. Right, okay, so let's move on, because he also said some more stuff. So, smart leaders might understand that the Disney deal had inherent problems like marketing, casting, and creative influence additional to no back catalogue. I said, no shit, Sherlock, I tell you. I mean, I love the source, but you go, yeah, exactly, and some. Anybody who watched the debacle with Disney, Bad Wolf, and the BBC will sit back going, why didn't I have any more control over the marketing, the casting, and actually creative flow? We've all heard the rumours, but they've all been based on various leaks, and my source has heard various things, and I've shared them in the past. That obviously, that time around Church and Ruby Road and Space Babies, when they were trying to have input, and it was Julie Gardner set in LA who was trying to be the conduit. But unfortunately, as they were all trying to massage egos and massage you-know-who, the argument is, although they had all the demographic data that was saying, you need to change this, you need to change that, it's not working, it's not really connecting, that they were saying, but RTD understands Doctor Who. RTD understands. Back off. But he didn't. And of course, actually, Disney shouldn't have allowed that at all. But if they walked into a stupid deal, they walked into a stupid deal. But yes, as he said, Paramount are certainly not going to do this. So the concern, everybody, is, do you feel happy that somebody like Paramount, somebody like Amazon or HBO or whoever, with their cultural setup, with their policies, and with their creative clout and muscle, will they allow us to say this is a unique British brand? And I very, very much doubt it. I really do doubt that. And I have to say, be careful what you wish for when we say, let the BBC almost release control. They have screwed it up. Funky, I wouldn't be surprised if Disney... Funky, are you paying me? Right, okay. Farsight, the best thing that could happen is for all the streamers to turn them down. I kind of said a version of this ages ago, Farsight. I think I did a saloon when I said that if I was Disney, because at that point we thought Disney was still in, that Disney, if I was Disney, I would just make the BBC sweat over season 3. I would actually play hardball. I would just go, well, do you want us? Let the BBC keep begging and contacted them and doing all that sort of stuff, and then saying, yeah, well, we need to change a few things. And, you know, once you can smell their weakness, that's straight in there. Dalek Lives Matters. I don't know if I can read all this out. Maybe they can make stuff less engaging to give annoying whatevers plenty of room to check their mobile apps. Yeah. Terrified Monk. Maybe Johnny's driving to your house, Brendan. Oh, I know. I'm keeping my address. I'm leaving the country. Literally. John may be in the Whomobile. Well, God, I tell you what, that was a lethal thing, wasn't it? Moira, good to see you. I thought Disney were more interested in Bluey. Bluey was what gave them BBC and Disney the idea of working together. It was Bluey that was the originator. It wasn't Doctor Who. Bluey was the instigator there. You're quite right. John Sweeney, RTD shouldn't be near a 2027 series. What's the point of a new streaming partner if we're getting the same old garbage? My understanding is that this is the final bit, though, John. That, yeah, I know we don't, none of us, I've not met anyone yet really who says, oh, yeah, give RTD another chance with the Christmas special. But my understanding is that is it. Just tidy it up a bit. It's just that whether he does tidy it up, and I am going to do a show tomorrow about that. It'll be another short from me and hopefully recorded. But my issue is, I'm not trying to do another show about RTD and all that stuff, but I think it is a point we need to make, which is, having had so many goes at Doctor Who already, when the argument seems to be let RTD tidy his own work up, his own mess up, I'm going to really challenge tomorrow in my show. Listen, there's so much to tidy up. How long do you want this Christmas special to be? I mean, just let's be, an hour's going to be luxury. I don't think he'd be lucky to get too far further. If it was an hour, is he going to tidy up Susan? Is he going to tidy up Popper? Where's my Popper? Is he going to sort that out? Is he going to sort out the 14th Doctor? I mean, look at when we got Starbeast and we had to sort out the meta crisis. We couldn't just enjoy a story with RTD back at the helm and Disney money. No. We had to go through the meta crisis crap first. So why the hell do we need RTD, who he has deliberately thrown Billy Piper at us as clickbait? And so any Christmas special has to deal with that. Oh, well, thank you. Instead of giving us a good sci-fi concept and a good story, we have to start in the wrong place. That's called RTD sorting his own mess out. Is that what we need? And so, yeah, I agree where a lot of you are coming from on that. Fergal, oh gosh, I love this. I'm on my Todd. I'm on my own here. And you're throwing money at me. Thank you very much. And I'm going to have to now try and find content to say thank you. But anyway, thank you, Fergal. For a streaming service to take it on, I think that the bare minimum is that the content needs to be competently written. Fergal, when was the last time? Here's my question, teacher in the class. When was the last time it was well written, Doctor Who? And I know we're all subjective on this one, but I would be going back a fair bit where I feel really engaged. And I didn't feel as though you were throwing at me too many characters, too much soap froth, that sort of thing. But thank you for that. And you know I do say thank you. And I am ready for you. I'm going to say thank you to you properly. Let's go back to great Doctor Who. And a great bit of AI from Garbage Who. Never forget him. Here we go. Oh. Oh, they've thrown them away. Isn't that interesting? I will try and get that back. That's a funny one. I will do this instead then. I have it ready. It's the power of the Daleks, but for some reason it's thrown this at me. Here we go.
Quickly, men, quickly. Excellent. Good thinking, good thinking.
harmless, not very lively.
Nothing you would know. But there are 3 Daleks in here. What's happened to the other one? Doctor! It was a sort of disembodied hand, a sort of claw. It was like...
Hopefully you enjoyed that. I loaded up all my videos and it's thrown them all out. Isn't that interesting? But I know we'll all cope. We can all cope. But thank you for that, Fergal. Dalek Lives Matters. It'll never change while it's in Cardiff. The elite of that city's politics are in the show. Do you know what? My sources made a big discussion about Cardiff and said it really should be back in London now. End of. He said a lot of the actors don't want to go to Cardiff. They really are sick of it. And when we were discussing the Billy Piper, David Tennant possibility for a Christmas special, actually before there was even the announcement, he said, do you think they're going to get Billy Piper back for... Sorry. If Billy Piper was in the Christmas special with the assumption she was the 16th Doctor, his argument was, I do think you're going to get Billy Piper in Cardiff for 9 months. No. She's number one, she's too busy. Number two, why would she? Not a chance in hell. So I know it's had its day, but of course Bad Wolf have got their mitts on it and they're not going to let go. Farsight, the streamers would do well to learn the lesson of the TV movie. The complaint in the States was it was too Americanized. Yes, I remember that one well. And what a shame, because actually it was quite popular in Britain. I had questions, but yeah. Stephen, good to see you. As an American, I can say no one talks about Doctor Who and no one cares. And as you know, that is the biggest indictment when you're not talked about, when you're not noticed. It's a killer. We'd rather be Marmite, if we get that analogy, loved or hated. But, you know, when people just go, meh, as they say. Rachel, good to see you. Get rid of bi-generation. Get rid of the undoing of the meta-crisis. Fix the Billy stuff. Yes, it has to be done. Get rid of timeless children as well. But as I'm saying, Rachel, you can see when Paramount or anybody, if they are in negotiation, they said, well, they won't know all these details. You know they won't. Even the BBC doesn't understand all these details. It's only us who do. So they're not interested in all the minutiae of Doctor Who. But they just don't want it to be unpopular, of course, and they don't want any untidy messes. And Billy Piper is an untidy mess. Not as a person, but the way it was done narratively. So, Rachel, I just think it's... do you really think, Rachel, a good story, its starting point is... we need to sort out the bi-generation mess, the 14th Doctor weeding in Donna Noble's garden. We need to sort out the meta-crisis, and we need to explain Billy Piper away. Oh, right, and what do we do in the next 10 minutes? That is going to basically inspire the plot in so many daft, unnecessary directions. I know we will agree on that. That's on him. And this is what I think everyone's questioning. Why do we need Russell T Davies back to actually proprietorially still own his mess and just cajole it? He's not going to own it in the way that we mean, which is own the mess and deal with it. And what we mean by that is erase it or whatever. No, he's not. He's going to cajole it. He's going to just kind of nuance it. And the trouble is that will just make half the special unspecial. Were the 3 special? I'll ask you, everybody, rhetorically. No. So why are we asking for a Christmas special with RTD to deal with the messes so that Paramount can come in singing and dancing? Funky, it would have to be a 24-hour long special to clear up that mess. Yes, it would. And for me to get the videos back on properly, it'll have to be a 24-hour show. Lee Smith, new Doctor, new showrunner, new stories, new aliens, and new direction. New who? Yes, I know. It's getting depressing. Vorbiz, the last time Who had any semblance of good writing was when Bill was turned into a Mondasian Cyberman, and that was heavy riffing off Spy Pilot. Yeah, well, I will take that, and I'm trying to be fair and speaking out loud and trying doing this show, trying to think of, is there anything since then? To be fair, I don't think there was. But, you know, I'm trying to be fair on that one. If anybody wants to throw up anything after Capaldi... Terrified Monk, the Doctor needs to go on some off-screen adventures and come back refreshed and rested. And we need a showrunner who doesn't end up building a culture by accident or on purpose where, whether it's the Chris Eccleston era or the Ncuti Gatwa era, there are lots of whispers and resentments and unhappinesses going on. I think we need a professional showrunner who actually stops all that. And my source has obviously discussed that, and I might be able to say more about the Chris Eccleston years a bit later. So that's where we were there, and I will join you all in the thread again in a moment. So what else did he say? You wouldn't commit to a long-term co-production deal, in my opinion, without some rights, even short-term, to the back catalogue. So the big task here is, you see, this is what concerns me. I understand that logic and that rationale, but what really concerns me is a new streamer who will want creative input is more bothered probably about the back catalogue than they are about the future direction of Doctor Who. And since RTD clearly had no clue, and the BBC have never had a clue about the future direction of Doctor Who, we've got nobody who understands the brand. All they want to do is, like vultures around a carcass, is to chew on the old stuff. And this, I actually think, is fundamentally the problem. We're coming from the wrong starting, it's the wrong starting point. Let's argue over who owns the classic stuff, whether it's for 5 minutes, 4 years, or in perpetuity. And it won't be that, will it? No. Has anybody, please, got an idea of where to take this show forward? Anybody? Has anybody got a science fiction brain? Is anybody into it? Because that's the starting point, surely, for a BBC commissioning editor and a BBC on top of its game. And actually, I know they might be limping around like a wounded animal getting shot at in lots of different directions. But fundamentally, the BBC should behave in a confident manner when it comes to shows like Doctor Who. But they don't. They're embarrassed by it. They don't understand it. And therefore, they appear vulnerable to all and sundry. Let's see how people are joining in on this one and whether they think I've gone mad. Bungle Bear. Just have Billy Piper's a new version of The Watcher. Possible. Prior to Tennant's regeneration, and like The Watcher, just leave it all unexplained. One Doctor again sorted. Bungle Bear, I'm fine with that. It's been done, and let's all hope for it. Some have said it might be the TARDIS. You see, I can't stand that. Oh, God. I mean, who liked the idea that RTD had for the 14th Doctor looking like David Tennant, saying, because he had to deal with the meta crisis and Donna, he wanted to, bring back an old face. And you think, this is so twee, so sentimental, so frothy and so nonsensical and so meaningless. And in a way, he's now forcing us to think like that again. I really need this era done and dusted. But a good go at that, Bungle Bear, a good go. Rachel, I've said rest and fresh start many a time, but the Christmas special tells me what I need to know. What do you need to know? Peter Tard. Dot and Bubble was great, but it was written years ago. Very true. And could only be made because the CGI became affordable to create the bubble. True. Yeah, we all heard that, didn't we? I wonder if it would have looked better with the original Doctor it was planned for. I think it was Matt Smith, wasn't it? I think it would have looked very different. Sometimes stories and the right doctors need to be coalescing, don't they? Matthew Burrows. Moffat was a better writer and showrunner. Neil Cross or Peter Harness will be the showrunner. Peter McTighe. Mr. Steve, a new Doctor, a new direction. I have to say, new always sounds exciting. The moment you get a new Doctor is always exciting, but New Who needs to be rested. New Who needs to die as a concept. David Williams, can't we just have an old Doctor back like 8 or 5 and just ignore the mess Davies has made? Just a good adventure in space and time for Christmas, if only. David Williams, you are onto something, and it would still fulfill what my source said. My source said the BBC are never going to erase an era. I mean, number one, it makes no sense when you're trying to sell the back catalogue, when you start to erase eras. It's content. It's just content. It's just pap. But, and you're going to get certain fans angry. So why would you do that? It's still all Doctor Who. But I think there's method in all our madnesses, though. I think it is possible that, and I think I argued this about a pitch ages ago, you buy time. You could do a special with an old Doctor. Paul McGann, maybe he's on top of his game. But let's just say 8. So Paul McGann is brought back for a special. It doesn't affect continuity. It doesn't affect anything about the future. But would Paul McGann do it? Would Peter Davison do it? Would any of them do it? I'm only asking that. This is just rhetorical. Because, most people are going, well, I'd like to be part of a project where there's a future to it. Is Doctor Who just this kind of pension plan? I know it is on the conventions, but does Paul McGann need to come back just for a special rather than thinking, well, can I have a series? What, am I just teeing this up for somebody else? I did that last time. I think it's disgusting how Paul McGann was treated, and I think it's about time somebody was good enough to actually give him a shot at it. It's disappointing that RTD in 2005 didn't consider Paul McGann, but was it ego? No, I think we need my Doctor. It's my go at Doctor Who. I need to pick my Doctor. I mean, Chris Eccleston was a good choice, but you thought, Paul McGann, for God's sake, what had he done wrong? It was actually a very good decision. But you know how people don't like anybody else's ideas? They like their own better. It's funny how RTD shifted from that position to suddenly wanting Sutek, Omega, the Rani, the Toymaker, and basically everybody else's ideas because he had none of his own. It's interesting, isn't it? How it kind of went around the houses a bit. Terrified Monk, it's a sign the show needs a rest. Yeah. And it's the worry how long it'll bloomin' well last, this rest. Now, Mad Mackham can see I need a cup of tea. And he knows he wants to have a laugh now because he knows I can't load a video. Yeah, this is going to be good. Thank you very much. An unknown Doctor, yes. Not numbered, yes. Somewhere in the future, yes. New adventures, new monsters, yes. Think Philip Hinchcliffe era. After that first season, which he didn't really manipulate, did he? From Terror of the Zygons onwards, it was pretty new. Crinoids, the lot. We think about it. That was good for so many reasons. No Earth-based nonsense. Yeah, we'll ditch Android Invasion. We'll ditch Terror of the Zygons. No, yeah, I know. Give the show space to breathe. It needs to be freed of the Japanese knotweed, of all the Earth-based modern peripheral you-know-what politics. It does. It just needs to breathe in that way. Let it fly. And stop copying other brands. So, let's have a look. Now, this time, look, I'm getting trained well. Stefan did that great show the other day with me, and I called him I read it out to BBC are fickle. When it's great, they'll love it. When it's not, they will slate it and pretend they dislike it. The BBC just don't understand it. They don't know what to say. But of course, we did our little show on Friday. It was that. We are planning our Daleks Master Plan 1 for when I get back from the USA next week. So Stefan will be back on. I know he was a very, very popular panelist. He's a good lad, and I'm dying to get him back on to discuss various matters. I'm enjoying this stream tonight, doing Crazy Gremlins. It's been very naughty. Now, I haven't forgotten Mad Mackham, and I haven't forgotten that I've now got to press loads of crazy buttons, Mad Mackham. It's quite funny, this. So say thank you to you for what you've just given me. Yes, we do. We do know. This is really enjoyable tonight doing this because what's happening is everything I set up, and has never been a problem ever, is playing up and throwing stuff out. It's really weird how it's doing it, but I think you're enjoying the fact that I'm actually going all over the shop here. You can see what's going to happen next because I don't know. But that's life. And of course, when I was a teacher, did you know I used to be a teacher? That's how it used to go in class. You set up the PowerPoint, it doesn't work. You set up the computer, it doesn't work. You've set up this amazing lesson for the kids, and then somebody does a fire drill by actually burning their cakes underneath the fire alarm because they don't want to get checked for So Stefan, just let Billy have a one-off special and get it over with. Say that it was the toy maker messing with his regeneration. Say who the boss is and just go back to the drawing board. Drawing board. Oh my God, do you think they do that? Do you think these people do have a drawing board? Because I think most of it was on the back of a fag packet with RTD. Yeah? I mean, and the other thing that you may have noticed is it's now thrown out my PowerPoint. Isn't that good? So I'll just try for a second. If you all allow me a second and see if it allows me to throw it back up. There you go. Isn't that weird? It's really, really, really trying to challenge things tonight. I'll blame a Sunderland supporter for that, right? No, thank you for being decent. So, as you can see, I go back to where we were with the source. And here we go. So, we were talking about that. You wouldn't commit to a long-term co-production deal, in my opinion, without some rights, even short-term, to the back catalogue. He also said this. So everyone involved will have to navigate all this, which will probably take time or not, and the BBC might even still go it alone. So, of course, what he's basically saying is it's all to play for. This could be chaos. And I've just seen Fergal. Lovely Fergal, has offered me this, which is going to be so funny because I'll have to try and find a video and it could chaos. Anyway, was McGann ever considered when the show returned in 2005? Was he just skipped over? I don't remember him being actively discussed. Obviously, RTD will have known, of course, his involvement in the movie. I don't think, I'm happy to be corrected by anyone in the thread, but I don't think that's the case. I think he wanted another doctor. I think I don't think he wanted any explanation. He wanted, quite rightly, keep moving forward. I will try and say thank you in my usual way. So let's see if it works.
Oh, no.
Lynx, Hecky Thump, what's wrong, Grandad? Don't you want a kebab from that takeaway booth?
That's no takeaway booth, you wet wipe. That's a Suntaran scout ship. A Suntaran experiment. Typical sense sphere.
Cheeky devil, you don't look like that, you little Homer Aqua. So, let's have a look. He also said about Paramount, expect lots of this over the next few months and next year. Ignore it all, Brendan, until there's an official announcement on the show's future. So basically, Brendan, stop it now. Stop it. No more. But yeah. My source has been brilliant. My two sources have been brilliant. But the issue is, Brendan, you're just going to get more froth like this. And I'm being honest and transparent with you all. I didn't have to show you that slide, but the truth is, he is saying you're going to get a lot more of this, and I will be fair on that, and therefore not do a stream every time we hear some tittle-tattle about, oh, HBO Max has suddenly decided they might want to talk. No, that would bore me as well. We've got Terrified Monk. It needs a $260 million budget. Surely it just needs more money to make it great. I'm doing, by the way, everybody, I have already done my first one. So while I am in the USA, there's maybe one show I'll just leave out as a bit of a fun one. There's no cliffhangers this time. If you were the showrunner for Doctor Who, what would you have done in 2023? Who would your doctor have been, or what type of doctor? And what would the future of Doctor Who look like? What would the style of the series look like? What would the structure be? What would the tone be? And we have a fun half hour discussing that. So you'll see Divine and Dragon's answer. I've got Chris on tomorrow recorded. So there could be a couple of shows. And if anyone wants to join me and if anyone wants to say what they think, that should be a fun show because every Doctor Who fan has millions of opinions on that. That's the fun area there. Now remember, it was only a while back when people were saying Amazon were the favourite for Doctor Who talks. What happened to that? What happened to that? And my source at the time said, it's definitely not HBO, Brendan. I can tell you that. They're not. It's not HBO Max, and it's not Netflix. They are cutting back massively on content. So it's none of those. Then he continued, it's the only one I think is possible is Amazon, because Amazon are the only one with the money, with the pockets to buy a catalogue and to do it. No one else can afford it. Now, of course, Paramount are possibly in play and have been manoeuvring recently. The source continued, remember Netflix and Amazon are not creative companies. They're just selling content. You don't have any creative thoughts or any ideas about something being good or bad. It's just, can we flog this on our carousel? And this is what scares me. And I said this earlier, didn't I? This really scares me about... We're just fighting over back catalogue content. We're just fighting over filling platforms with stuff. We're not in the right place and in the right discussion about, is there a future for this show? Because if no showrunner and writing team have any new ideas on a format, a vibe, an interesting character direction, then the series shouldn't be made. And that's my argument about the Christmas special. What the hell is that? What, we need to see Billie Piper take the makeup back off and then go, wasn't me at all. Why? Do you really want to see David Tennant again? Do we really want to revisit Donna Noble's garden with Mad Mel? I mean, you know, that bored me rigid when we all had the scene in the back garden and we're all having a bit of salad. I mean, no, it was like a lame episode of EastEnders. So, no, I want none of that. Farsight, oh, they're trying to test me. Has he got any videos left? Is he going to stuff up again? Thank you. We need a new Doctor who is recognisably the Doctor. So, Farsight, you know, if I got you on, if you were the Doctor Who showrunner, have you got a name? Or have you just got a certain type of Doctor you want to do? By the way, if you all do come on to do the If I Were a Doctor Who showrunner show, it's about half an hour, but I actually do role play. The gift, the skills and the talents are amazing. And I really kind of cheekily challenge you as if it's an interview, just to test you out. So it could be fun. Thank you for that. I will try and think of a video in a minute. Shmoidi, BBC are in a bit of a mess as of late. Whatever they do with it, it's just not going to be good due to their mandates and charters that are not going to change anytime soon. Negative, I know, but true. You are allowed your opinion. I'm certainly not in a good place about it. I'm certainly not cheerful about it. So I grant you what you're saying. And yes, I do have a video. And I think it's time we got a bit of a proper Dalek extermination. Shocking. So, Brendan is seriously going to try and get into America next week. Does he not know that people like him are frowned upon over there? Lily Shambles, how dare you? What do you mean? They let me in last year. I haven't changed so much, have I? Hey! It is I, Leclerc. No, they won't recognise me at all from last year. I've changed so much. Aged. Funky. One idea is to get the Billy stuff out the way in a Children in Need mini special. I mean, can you imagine? Billy, I know you're big in Hollywood now. I know you're doing really well with stuff. Can you just come back for a little Children in Need cruddy special with Pudsey? Pudsey and Poppy. Oh, that's a spin-off for you. Pudsey and Poppy. Poppy goes on adventures with Pudsey. And have some new Doctor go off and have an actual adventure at Christmas with no baggage. Are we calling Billy Piper baggage now? Oh, how wash your mouth out. But yeah, I know what you're saying, but can you sell that to Billy Piper? I know you say it's for charity. It's for charity. Come and put your flaky pastry makeup on again for charity. Would you really? Or would Billy Piper go, I'm a bit busy that day, I'm doing my hair? I'm not sure. Stefan doesn't need more money. It just needs creative writing. And I actually think there's a dearth of creative writing. Can somebody just tell me, people who watch loads of platforms, people who watch more shows than me, because who watches TV anymore? I actually don't think there's that many really decent creative ideas out there. Now, I know you'll all shout some show at me and go, Brendan, but if you look at the whole plethora out there, there isn't much. I tell you what, people are really kind of, being lucky to get out there. Remember what my source also said. Since lockdown, since the change politically in America, since the LA fires, he said it's a terrible place, Hollywood. And he said, and so many people are not wanting to risk pitching their creative, clever idea because they really, really don't want it chewed to pieces by all the crud. So they're holding back. And a lot of people equally are leaving the industry. So basically, it's a bad place. And therefore, you see the crud that's on TV because some of the really good ideas people are holding back. And we may never see them. Forgotten Melody. Personally, I would like to see the plot scaled back. Yeah, no, I think you're onto it. I think that's where we are quintessentially British. Can I not have 1,000 million Daleks? No. I know it was probably our little nightmare when we were kids, but but it was great in the Dalek Annual. I don't think I needed to see it on TV. I was always, well, look, Forgotten Melody, you're spot on. Seeing 3 Daleks creep down the Thal bunker, the Khalid bunker, that is all I needed. Did we need 4? Did we need a special weapons Dalek who actually can wipe everything out? I mean, why do you need a Dalek army on Spyridon when if you had one special weapons Dalek? Excuse me, game over. So I can see what you're saying, Forgetting Melody. We just need the plots. I think the genius of Doctor Who was when you just had, it's the start of a possible invasion. It's the start of the plague. And Doctor Who lands at just the right point. We don't get the big global or universal scale. I think that's the key to that. And I think you're right onto it. Bungle Bear says Amazon went and bought Bond instead. Probably a better deal. Let's hope they don't ruin it. I know some people say it's already been ruined, but I'll stay out of that one. Always best only talk about stuff that you know pretty well, is my kind of guiding light there. Mad Mackham, Brendan, this current show has no future, but the Doctor Who I know and love has all the futures in front of it. We just need writers to tell the tale. Maybe RTD for once was right when he said on Newsround, you might be the future writers of Doctor Who. Maybe we just need a few years and a few new decent people come in. So I agree. Clearly, I agree with your sentiment, and clearly, maybe we do just need time. And clearly, I need to say thank you.
Hello?
So thank you for that. It's been a very, very decent bit of thread talk in there. You've really kept me going. He also said, and I'm not convinced that the BBC will sell Doctor Who. I'm not convinced that they'll even go there because they may look at it and say, we're not giving that away because in 3 years we're merging with ITV and we need it. Can you remember my big show about the possible super merger? Where the confusion happened, can you remember people saying, are you saying terrestrial TV? That'll never happen. And I if I made a mistake of sounding like that, I didn't mean to. He meant on the online streaming side of things. And we've seen ITV in the last week or so. There are deals out there going on. None of them can survive online with all the streaming battles. They're all going to have to start merging. And so, you know, this is an interesting position to be in. Daryl Joyce, we've said a few times, I'd love you on. I'd love you to do the Doctor Who showrunner on. Everybody loves your content. I haven't met anyone who doesn't like your content. Genesis of the Daleks, Sea Devils, a lot. The way you present in your animations and artistry, God, I was saying to Jamie just the other night when I was watching your Genesis of the Daleks animation, I said, with the music and everything, I said, you can reboot Doctor Who. Look what Daryl Joyce is doing. He's taken the story. Yes, some of the characters look similar, but equally you are adding your own kind of vibe to it. And I actually think it can be done. Another version of Genesis of the Daleks is easily possible. Your epic scale of it absolutely thrilled me. And even though it was animation, you know, some people say, oh, I can't cope with animation. Your animation's great. The animation, I would watch that. I was spellbound. You grabbed my soul when I saw that Genesis of the Daleks animation. Nothing in the last few years has gotten anywhere close to that. Daryl Joyce, I really don't know why, unless somebody's had a word with you, you haven't been picked up. I'd love you to come on, Daryl Joyce, and I'm saying it now. I'd love to have a half hour with you where I say, if you, Daryl Joyce, were Doctor Who showrunner, what would you do with it? I think everybody would be fascinated. Paul Ashworth, the BBC needs an open scripts policy to see what magic the fans can whip up. Yeah, and I agree with you. I think it is very possible we need now competition. Competition is the answer, isn't it? The best writers right now are the two from Inside Number 9. Yeah, well, it's dark enough, isn't it? So you can see with Gremlins and everything, I've kind of just about survived the show. One more tomorrow, maybe not done live, maybe a good idea. No streamer worth their salt would let the BBC broadcast Doctor Who first, was the argument today. Nicola Dolby, let's just see what she's saying. Seriously, Brendan, why does the BBC need all the money? If they could produce the visuals to the standards of the Chibnall era, agreed, it would be fine. Spend the money on good writers and actors. Yes, not on Turani. He spent the money on so many stupid things. Did nobody say, right, you want to bring the Rani back? Fine. We'll get a good actor doing it, Anita Dobson. What, you now want Archie Punjabi? Why do we need two wages when one isn't needed? He was wasting money on so many things. And I think he was just a kid in a sweet shop. He saw all the money and he rode with it. Farsight, this is like the bell's about to go. Anwar Bernard as a new moody doctor in a dark version of the show. If you don't know him, watch Barkskins. Oh, I like some of your recommendations, so thank you for that. It will give everybody a certain idea. Thank you. I agree. I loved when the Doctor that visited a new world every week and fixed the problems that only affect that alien world. No universal calamities. The stakes were big to the people of that world, and it was enjoyable. No, we're not forgetting. I'm preaching to the converted. Escapism. Try not to show me stories or characters that remind me of how my next door neighbour, remind me of what's going on in London or America. Why? No. That's called the news. Can we please have some escapism where the concepts don't literally emulate exactly what's going on the news yesterday? That would be lovely. And it would also unify us because we wouldn't be on two sides of the debate that we always are, whether you're left or right or whatever. Instead, we're all just Doctor Who fans. Wouldn't that be nice? So yeah, I'm just checking. I haven't been rude to anybody. Rachel, I'll equally get you back on. I'm in the USA for about 6 days, so there's a lot of people I want dying to get back on. Thank you everybody for joining me. The fun bit now, I say the fun bit, you're just sat there. The fun bit now is I've got to somehow get the credits on. But thank you everybody. I've really enjoyed that. It keeps me under my mettle. But good night, everybody, and I'll see you in some guise tomorrow.